There we go. We should be hopefully live again now. Better give this a few minutes, make sure it does actually stay on. Yeah, I think Streamlabs that's dropped the internet's fine. I could browse the internet, I could start and stop streams. I've literally tried about 7 times. It's not been our end. It's happened for a few days in a row, so I think it's Streamlabs dropping out. So I might change to OBS if this keeps happening, because this is now 2 streams in a row it's dropped out. Yeah, probably Rusty telling me I need to. It's funny because Rusty actually did need picking up. So it could have been him. I'll give this just a second, stabilize, and then we'll carry on from where we left off. And I'll just have to, I'll just download the YouTube vids, edit them together, and re-upload it as a single video. But yeah, I can't rely on Streamlabs having some intermediary stream passing through. I'll just go straight to OBS, and the only problem is it's not quite as nice for the vertical and there's something about it, I can't remember which, but I can work around it. I can make it work. Streamlabs has been solid though for 6 months, but it's a lot slower on the Mac in the other room, like a hell of a lot slower. Some of the features don't work, and OBS boots up way quicker. So there's positives to trying to get back to OBS, I guess. So we'll carry on. Pretty much, we were right near the end as well, but we'll carry on where the stream cut off. I think it cut off as I was about to solder here when I look back. So what we'll do is I'll just basically pick up where we left off. So for this side, we have obviously the ground, red, green, and blue input and output. I'm just going to move this up because it's a little bit too low to fit the wires in. So I'm going to move it up there and expose, say, like 2 pins of that chip. And then we will solder on the output wires. So we're just going to solder the blue. See, the blue just about reaches. We'll maybe move it up a little bit more. Move up to expose, say, 3 pins there. And these were pre-stripped with the idea that we were going to solder to, the pins of the chip, not necessarily them vias. But you can actually just move the board up to make contact. So we've got the red, the green, and the blue. And then we have this one, which is the ground. That's there. And the last ones are the 2 sync pins. So just grab the extra long wires, the 2 that are left now in the kit, that can go to here. And then after this, we should have the RGB all done. So this one is the output, this is the input. If we now go to the AV port and flip over, you can see here is the AV port. If you're unsure of which pins are which, we can go to retro6.wiki. If I pull that up over the top, we can go down to Sega Mega Drive 2, AV port pin out, and then if we scroll down, we can see the pins here. So we want C-Sync. C-Sync is basically the middle pin, so it's always this middle pin in line with the big pin here. Come straight down, it's the middle pin. All we need to do is disconnect here, and then this becomes the input, so the left pin, and this becomes the output. So for that, we will just get a little grinder tool. You can use whatever tool you want. This one I'm just going to blow out that trace. And I'll just get some IPA. So we can see that trace is gone. And now we have a disconnect between here. So then if we take the wires from here, remember this is the input, this one here, and we can wrap around. It's plenty long enough, so you've got tons of excess here. And the input is going to be this wire here, because it's the input from the system, the original point. The system was outputting C-Sync. We're now going to tap into that. There's our input. And then the output is obviously the one that's left. So where are we? This one's now the output. So we'll wrap that around. Go to this port here. And we'll go onto the actual pin of the connector there. And then that is the mod all done. So now we should have to just power up and see, hopefully, fingers crossed, perfect RGB. So we have the install here. We have a little pad. So this is a low pass filter. This will smooth the output slightly. So this will make the output a little bit softer, but it's not needed on RGB, basically, because you don't really want to soften the output unless you see visual issues. It's more for a composite, that is. So if we then go back to this, zoom out a bit, and we'll have a go now at getting the SCART connector here. So this is the CleanRGB cable. And we'll plug this in to the AV port. We've got the power. We're going to do it out of the casing for now to make sure everything works. And then once we're happy, we can build it up. And then for this now, this will go into your receiver. So this can be a CRT TV that supports RGB, or it can be, I'll show you this. This is what I personally use, just a OSSC, this is called, open source scan converter. You have a connector here, so you can connect this up. And I suppose if I can get the power up to here to show you as well. The power plug is there. If we turn this on, you can see on screen here now, we have the OSSC showing up. Get it on the vertical for you as well there. Pull a bit of focus. So this is the OSSC. If I now turn on the Mega Drive, tap this one button to go to the first source, that should be showing us a sync, and it's not. So we're actually not booting there for some reason. So we might have to diagnose why that is, because there's no reason. That should be, I'm pretty sure, all connected. There we go. Just the game wasn't loaded. So now you see you've got 50 Hertz. So we're going to have something on the output. If I connect up the HDMI source, I guess it's best doing it like this so you can see exactly what's happening. That's now the HDMI source connected. And if I show the HDMI on screen, which should be this one, if I've done everything right, turn off. Yeah, I've done it right. This should show the game load. So, is it struggling to load game? It may well be. Let's just give the port a little clean. Because the fact it didn't get synced the first time makes me think maybe we just didn't. There we go, just a dirty game cart. And then now look at the difference on this. So if we pull up the full screen now, just look how sharp that is. And yeah, that's funnily enough, that is literally what we used to do as kids. Is we used to get, say, turn these off. We used to get the game cart and blow in there. And if you wonder why that worked, that was basically because you were blowing saliva into there. So I've just sprayed IPA. If you ever get the game struggling to load, I've got some IPA, isopropyl alcohol, basically just neat alcohol. You can use, in a pinch, you can use vodka. Literally just alcohol. It cleans the pins. and then you can spray it with alcohol, insert, I'm going to get that lined up right, insert and remove like this 20 times, and that'll polish the cartridge pins. On a Mega Drive 2, you won't see anything on screen whatsoever if it doesn't load. But this is why I like the OSSC. When you turn on, you can see if something's happening, if it's loaded or not. And then obviously we can show the actual game on screen, and now you've got super sharp, perfect colours. So we've got none of that blurriness. I think we had Sonic. If I just press start, I think it'll load the last game we had. And then I'll look at that TM, for example, how sharp the TM is. That's like the perfect example of the difference in RGB. And then look at Sonic. It's like basically perfect. And this is obviously HDMI as well, so this can go to a nice giant screen if you like. It can go to your modern TV, or it can still go into a CRT if you have CRTs with RGB support. Whoa, the delay is throwing me off on here. I'll just get to the end of this level. And that is the difference, basically. So I presume you can see quite clearly if you go to the start of what will become this single stream now, because obviously it's split into two, but if you go to the start of the video and the end, you'll see quite a clear difference between the two. And that is why you would upgrade to RGB. If you really want the best quality, you want to go with the RGB stuff. So what you need for that is obviously the CleanRGB mod, which is the little mod we've installed here, and then the CleanRGB SCART cable, which is this blue braided cable. You'll need the soldering iron to install it, and now all you'd have to do is reassemble this in reverse order. So we just put this back in the shell in identical order, just in reverse. And we should find if we get this, and you notice I used to wonder where the hell these were. I used to find these all over the place until I realized they were falling out of Mega Drive 2s. They go over these two holes here and lock in, and that's to stop these cartridge pins bending down and touching the metal shield. We put them in with the game ports first into here, and then it locks down. And then we just reinstall the screws we took out. So the first two are going to be the longest two, which are the cartridge connector, basically. Yeah, we're back. I don't think it wasn't the internet or my side as such. I'm pretty sure it's Streamlabs, because it just dropped out and wouldn't reconnect. And it took me a good while of just waiting. I nearly just ended up recording it as an offline and then editing it after. I'll have to patch these two together anyway. But I very nearly just didn't come back online and did it offline, but luckily just kicked back in after waiting for about 10 minutes. So I think it's either Streamlabs dropping out or something a little bit strange going on. But we're back on now. He says as he nearly rounds the screw. So we'll put all these in. This is where, again, you can refit the metal shield. I don't typically do it. It's just preference if you want to put that shield back on. I personally just don't normally reinstall them. Two more, and then it's the top shell. And if you want this, by the way, you can buy these on retro6.co.uk fully done. So we sell the Mega Drive 2s and loads of others. If you don't want to solder this in yourself, you can buy the OSSCs just on Amazon. £120, I think they are, and then you can use it for any console that you've got RGB. So it's a expense for the first console, but after that it works for all the others. Put this back on. We could also do a, if you're not fond of the DC power brick, here we do a clean power USB, which replaces this DC jack for USB-C power. I'll do an install video on that another time. And then there's just 4 screws in the back. And again, sounds quite nasty with the electronic screwdrivers. They kind of come out fairly easy, but they roll. They're not very overpowered, so you're not rounding any screws. They're perfectly fine if you look in the holes. There's no rounding of them screws whatsoever. It's just they go in perfectly fine. Basically, they just don't sound nice. They sound literally like you're rounding screw heads every time you do it. And now it's all assembled. Let's just give it one more test. Plug the cables in. We will get the HDMI overlay up. Put the game in. Turn on. And there we go. So that's all booting fine. And then we'll just do, what else can we do? Golden Axe maybe? Just quickly load this up. And then if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. But this will now be, 50-60 hertz on Sonic is a major difference. We're going to be making the another mod as well for like region switching, language switching, and a bunch of other stuff as well. That'll be coming soon. We're doing quite a lot of Mega Drive mods at the minute. But this is going to become, like I say, the kind of standard for the products we release now. We're going to do proper videos showing the full install from start to finish, why you'd use it, what it's for, not just a partial install, basically. This is not. This is not. I think I've loaded the wrong game. That's not Golden Axe. It says it is. Golden Axe Warrior. That's not the Golden Axe I know. Golden Axe World. N64 CleanRGB. It's something I need to make. There's 2 versions of N64. This is the Golden Axe I know. There's one with a NUS RGB chip, which the CleanRGB Universal will work for. And then there's the more common version that doesn't have that, and it's like a chip that outputs RGB, but in sort of we need like a parallel to serial converter to convert the, well, rather the other way around. We need to convert the serial data coming out for RGB, construct it into like a standard RGB signal. So it's something I'll do, but not something I've done yet. But we've got the cable for it. Obviously the SNES cable works with the N64 as well. So once we do the mod, we've already got the RGB cable. We just need the actual, the internal mod for the N64, basically. I don't know why I'm playing it on small. Let's get this big. That one. That's better. I can see what I'm doing. It's not going to help me with this gameplay, though. I think I spent more time beating up the player 2 than the people on Golden Axe. Oh yeah, and the vertical doesn't even show. Where are we? Chat, overlay, screen capture. HDMI. So chat overlay wants to be which way? HDMI. So I'm just going to move the HDMI down on there. I've just noticed the vertical stream had the HDMI in the wrong place. You couldn't even see. Oh yeah, this will be. I was looking at chat then and not the. Oh no, no. Ah, two of them. Yeah, this should be literally perfect. This should be the best RGB you can get. Should be sharp, the exact same levels. If you've seen the video of me making this, I think I made the video. Yeah, I had the prototype and showing you how I did it when we installed the CleanRGB Universal. And then I showed you how this was made. So if you wanted to see that on stream, you can. But yeah, that is the CleanRGB Universal. Well, no, the CleanRGB for the Mega Drive 2. The whole install, how you do it, why you'd have it. And hopefully this is useful. So if you're looking forward to this for all the other products we do, just sub to the channel and keep an eye out. That's it for this one, guys. I will be back online later, probably for subs. And I'll carry on doing these kind of videos. Let's get some more product install guides out.